Yeah, this is definitely a weird one. Mission to the Unknown. I really meant to get this done closer to when the thing actually came out, but such is life sometimes. So, Doctor Who oddities, and this one is an oddity on multiple levels. It's like oddityception we've got going on here. So, if you don't know, Mission to the Unknown was a story from the early days of Doctor Who during the Hartnell era. And it was a one-episode story. So it was about 20, 25 minutes. And it did not feature the main cast of Doctor Who at all. It featured a whole new cast of characters and a couple of basically stranded figures who encounter the Daleks. And it set some stuff up that would pay off a couple of stories later in, I believe it was Dalek's Master Plan. But it's kind of ancillary, and it's a bit of a weird thing. It was put in basically to give the main crew a break during the shooting blocks. And then Terry Nation, who wrote the script, used it attempting to make kind of a backdoor pilot to find ways to make money off the Daleks separate from Doctor Who, because the way that copyright worked in the UK at the time, he had the rights to the Daleks as a creation. So if he could get them to get traction as a thing, he could take and have them branch off from Doctor Who, which to some extent he did with some stuff. But this was one of his early sort of attempts to kind of set that up and get that going. But that was sort of just like what he did when he got the writing assignment. So what Mission to the Unknown is now is not what it was at the time. Because what it was at the time, as I said, is a one-episode thing. But it's one of the lost episodes. Audio was able to be recovered. No video has ever been recovered from this thing. However, currently up on the official Doctor Who channel, I'll link it down below, and I would recommend that you watch it. Watch it after I'm done talking if you want. I'm not really going to talk too much in the way of spoilers, I don't think. And there isn't a ton to spoil as far as this thing goes, but if you want to watch it before, just pop on down and give it a look. So, what's on the official Doctor Who YouTube channel, aired 54 years after the original episode, is a recreation. Now, this is not one of the animated recreations like have been released on DVD and Blu-ray like they did with Shada and the Macra Terror and Evil of the Daleks, and they're going to be doing with Fury of the Deep. No. This was a live-action recreation shot in black and white in the original aspect ratio using effects and lighting techniques and sound quality consistent with what it would have been at the time. This is, as pure as could be done, a recreation of what the episode was. And that is the goal of this thing. They're not trying to improve it, because I do think to a certain extent you get that with some of the animated recreations a little bit. Like the Macra Terror animated thing, I still haven't seen all of it, but I've seen clips, and I definitely noticed right away, like, there is no way in heck that the Macra looked as good in live action as the animation is making them look in terms of, like, the fluidity of the movement and things like that. I'm like, nope. So there's none of that kind of reinvention and rewriting of the history going on. Instead, this is an attempt to absolutely recreate it right down to the dodgy effects, right down to the slightly off sound effects at times, all of it. And it's dang impressive. And they're going off the original script. I don't think they recycled the audio because it synced up way too well. It didn't look like people were lip syncing to pre-existing audio. But I do not doubt that the pacing of the audio was what determined the pacing of this. Because there are some moments that, if it was being made at all with modern Doctor Who sensibilities, they would have sped this up or altered this shot or done that, or, not had this thing linger. There's this weird bit of dead air. And that is probably all reflected from the audio. So they know that's how it was delivered, how the lines were delivered before. That's how they're going to deliver them now. Because the point is not to update. The point is to try to reinvent and recreate and bring back a lost piece of Doctor Who history. And as an experiment, as an exercise in recreation as preservation, it is dang impressive. Like, if you had told, honest to God, if you had told me that this was the genuine article found and then aired, I would have believed you. They're really, like, you have to look really, really close to catch that. That, maybe that's a little better than they could have done at the time, but, like, across the board, it's spot on. Now, as to the story itself, it's, as I said, it's an odd little thing because it deals with basically two stranded men who are trying to fix their rocket on a planet that has Daleks on it. Now, the Daleks are not the only hazard. There's also this kind of plant that I am now forgetting what it was they call it. It had a weird kind of pronunciation to it. But it has these spines, and if it pricks you with it, it infects you, and you will, first of all, be taken over, have your mind taken over and attempt to kill other people. But then, even if you get killed, your body will change into one of these plants. It's actually a pretty horrifying idea, and it's the kind of thing that the Daleks used to do that I kind of wish they'd bring back. Unfortunately, the one time in modern era Doctor Who that they kind of brought back this idea of the Daleks meddling and tinkering and you know, having these kinds of biological weapons or things like that was basically Daleks and Manhattan Evolution of Daleks, which is a story that doesn't work, but it doesn't fail because of these ideas. These ideas are good. It's just, unfortunately, the story where they brought them back happened to be one that failed, and I suspect that's part of the reason they don't really get brought up anymore. But this is the kind of thing I'd really like to see brought back, because these days it really does feel like the only threat the Daleks pose is an armada that's going to come and shoot everybody. I suppose there was sort of the hollowed out Dalek shell thing that they did, introduced in Asylum of the Daleks. That, I don't love it, but that was something. That was in the vein of this sort of thing. So, like, Greg, I can think of 2 examples out of 11 series worth of Doctor Who where the Daleks have an MO beyond just coming in and blowing everything up. And the Daleks used to do a lot more than that. They used to be a lot sneakier. They used to have a lot more strings to their bow, a lot more options in their arsenal. And also in this, I suppose this is minorly spoilery for the thing, but, like, again, it's not a twist story. So, but anyways, the Daleks are also forging an alliance with multiple other races so that they can better conquer the solar system. Now, this is the kind of thing that I wish they could figure out a way to bring back. Now, before people start telling me, but the Daleks would never ally with anyone. They want to conquer everyone. It's like, yes, they do eventually. But there was a time, once upon a time, where the Daleks would ally with other races because it'll help them conquer things now. And as far as they're concerned, they'll backstab these people later. And again, that's something modern Daleks now lack. They are so single-minded and so fanatical. They don't plan strategically anymore, and they used to. I suppose they used to up until Davros got introduced, and then basically it was decided only Davros can think in that capacity, and Daleks themselves have no imagination whatsoever. Which, it's just a shame. The definition of what Daleks are and what they do and what they're capable of and the ways they go about it has gotten more narrowly defined as time has gone on. So it's both interesting and a little saddening to go back and see a time when Daleks did more and different stuff. And I'm not sure there's too much else to say. It's a nifty little thing. It's about 25 minutes of your time. It is well worth watching if you enjoy classic Doctor Who at all. And the original thing was an oddity. This recreation is an oddity, but it's a neat thing that we now have. It's pretty neat, I say. What do you think about Mission to the Unknown? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you wish to support the channel, I have a Patreon which you can support and help me eat and pay my bills. But even if you aren't up for that, you can still help me by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video, because that is what pleases the almighty algorithm. Because we must worship the algorithm, lest it come forth and exterminate us all. Exterminate. Exterminate. Okay, that's enough of that. There's all other stuff down there as well. There's links to my social media, the book I wrote, other channels. There's now Break Room of the Geeks, which has things like trailer reactions and fan music videos and Let's Plays. And more stuff will be going up there over time, but get in on that now. Subscribe over there, too, if you like what I do. And that'll wrap it up for this one, folks. Because, you know, all that stuff I mentioned, it'd be great. But I'm not going to tell you what to do because at the end of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.